Bitcoin's going to zero. Bitcoin is dead. Market structure is broken. It's topped 47,000. It has to go to 43,500. These were the kind of comments I was getting all weekend on my Twitter feed. Angry people panicking because, well, we were probably near the bottom. Well, Bitcoin bounced. Ethereum looks really good. And now I'm going to take a look at the news and charts and see if we can figure out what's coming next. Let's go. What's up, everybody? I'm Scott Melker, also known as the Wolf of All Streets. Before we get started, please subscribe to my channel and hit that like button right down below. Now, as I told you, people were in a full fear and panic this weekend, which is amazing considering Bitcoin was trading around $50,000. A year ago, if I told you Bitcoin was going to be $50,000, you would have mortgaged your house and sold your car just to get in. It was a wet dream for anybody in this community. But now people are bearish at $50,000 and really angry. Bearish. Every bullish tweet that I posted this weekend had crazy comments. Here's 3 of them, not edited, just in a row on one single tweet. Bullish divergence, Bitcoin dips more. Bullish divergence, Bitcoin dips more. Do you actually believe your own tweets, or do you just tweet them as a positive affirmation to reassure yourself? You have no idea what you're talking. It's time for you to shut down your Twitter account and find a rock to crawl under, con man. You are a joke and nothing more. You don't know what you're talking about. I hope you lost all your money because all you do is hype crypto the fuck up for your own personal gains. Twitter is unbelievable and is the greatest single social sentiment tool that we have ever had. Now, I don't want people to be upset. I don't want people to be fearful and panicking, but the fact that they are is the greatest bottom signal that you will ever get. You don't need a chart. You don't need anything. You just need to determine the relative salt levels on Twitter, and you will know that the bottom is close. I sent so many tweets about this weekend, I can't even tell you, but here we are with Bitcoin having bounced. The question then remains, is that it? Or are we going to keep going up? Are we going to head back down? Let's take a look and see what the charts say. First, I want to take a look at a chart that I made last week, days ago, before we even bottomed here. Bitcoin is dead. The top is in 2021 edition. This is the 4th retracement of this sort that we have had just this year in 2021. There's nothing abnormal here. In fact, this is one of the shorter ones that we've had, as you can see, and it didn't even get to 30%, which is very common in any bull run. Now, if you take a look at these two, pretty similar looking, wouldn't you say? Now, the difference everyone will point to is the fact that this was the first time that we made a lower low, which is relevant and is a technical break in market structure. But like anything on a chart, it's just one thing. And when you add it up to everything else, it clearly is not a big deal. If we see candles closing above 50,360, that argument for the bears becomes null and void and is somewhat moot. Now, what I find really interesting here, as we know, there was huge leverage in the market, 10 billion liquidated, which was by many factors the most in history of longs liquidated. Well, here you can see we had actually much more volume on the selling on the spot market. This is on Bitstamp. This was a much higher volume sell-off than the one we just saw. So this indicates that, yes, it was leverage liquidations. It was led by the futures market and by people trading with high leverage and not people actually selling their spot Bitcoin. This was not even a huge spike in selling volume, which I find really, really, really interesting. Now, if you're an MA trader, you're probably looking for a retest here of the 50 MA, around 56,916. That's probably the immediate target of this move, but eventually you should be targeting, around 65,000 at the highs. Now, as you can see here, like I said, this is a 27.46% retracement. Totally normal, totally healthy, par for the course, absolutely nothing new here. If we go down further, it would still be normal down into this zone. Let's talk about this zone between 46,000 and 43,000 or so. I sent a tweet that set Twitter on fire this weekend saying, now, if everybody's watching one area, 43,000 to 46,000, 2 things will happen. Either we will stop at 47,000 or we will nuke straight through into the 30,000s. Well, the lows as of yesterday were $47,061. When everybody is watching an area, when the crowd wants something, they very rarely get it. They usually get front run by someone who knows everybody is waiting. Why? The whales buy here. Price goes here, and all the people waiting from 43,000 to 46,000 are the ones that start buying this up through here to make it continue. They don't get their orders, they panic, and they FOMO in when things start going the other direction. Now, Very notably, and something I was watching for that we had until the last 30 minutes was I was looking for oversold RSI on the daily. It did not happen. As you can see, it got to 30.6 with 30 being oversold. We have not hit oversold since the doom of crypto in March of 2020. I was really looking for that. It's close enough. It's not a big deal, but you do generally tend to want to see RSI go from overbought to oversold, and we've been overbought a lot of times since we were last oversold. But speaking of RSI, let's look at the 6 hour. The 4 hour looked similar. This is when I said, hey guys, I think the bottom might be in. This is 4 days ago. I said we've got confirmed bullish divergence on the 6 hour, 4 hour, other time frames. Usually that means we will continue to see a bottom. I'm expecting one more dip, two more dips to create more bullish divergence, maybe get RSI oversold on the daily, and then we go up. But what happened? We continued to build bull divs before this move. Now we want to avoid hidden bearish divergence if possible, which means we want to see price continuing up, although hidden bearish divergence is generally considered a weak signal. It's my opinion for now that the bottom is likely in and that we will slowly drift up to the highs again. We could see another drop to get that daily into oversold RSI, at which point I will look for more bullish divergences as a bottom signal. But we were oversold. We were showing bullish divergence on multiple time frames. These are bottom signals, and everyone was in an absolute panic. You put all of that together and you have a very likely bottom. Now moving on to Ethereum, well, this is the weekly chart. Ethereum said what correction? While Bitcoin was dropping from like 65,000 to 47,000, this is what Ethereum was doing against Bitcoin. And I've been screaming that you should be looking at Ethereum, that it looks more bullish than Bitcoin for weeks. Confirmed inverse head and shoulders at this line. Confirmed break of this descending resistance from the all-time high. Confirmed retest as support. Strong move through resistance. And now this. Zooming into the daily, this was a setup that I shared over and over again in videos and on the newsletter. Bullish SFP and breakout of this local resistance. We've now almost doubled since that point, not quite. And you can see that we are now flipping this resistance potentially to support after a nice move through. I don't see anything bearish on the Ethereum chart at all versus Bitcoin. It looks like it's going to outperform Bitcoin for the foreseeable future. This is the setup I've shared on Ethereum USD so many times, and we have still not hit the target. I believe we are going to 3,600 on the way to much, much higher targets. I'm talking about 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. But we had the breakout of this bull pennant right here, and then a rejection here at the local highs, but it looks like we're almost ready to get there again. That said, note that a lot of alts now on their USD pairs are at resistance, so it's time to be careful once again. As you can see here, also on Ethereum USD on the weekly, we had this massive rounding bottom, which broke out at 14,019, the previous highs. We broke through that, retested it. I was screaming to anyone who would listen. Yolehu, come buy Ethereum 1419. Well, now it's flipped every level and seems to be continuing up. I think Ethereum is going to $3,600, and I think Bitcoin should soon be revisiting the highs on its way to much higher targets. Now let's take a look at the news. JP Morgan to let clients invest in Bitcoin fund for the first time. Sources. The JP Morgan Bitcoin fund could roll out as soon as this summer, sources tell CoinDesk. Jamie Dimon is the biggest hater and hypocrite in the world. He's the CEO of this company. I've told you about this many times, but they quoted it right here. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon called Bitcoin a dangerous fraud in 2017, threatening then to fire in a second any trader who touched the stuff. If you're stupid enough to buy it, you'll pay the price for it one day, he said at the time. Well, now he's offering Bitcoin services and a fund to his wealthiest clients. Not because he wants to. This guy is still an asshole. Because there's so much pressure from his clients that he has to. The community is pressuring their banks to let them get into Bitcoin, and they have no choice but to either capitulate to their clients or lose out on their clients. Morgan Stanley's already done this. JP Morgan had to. But I want to remind you, big banks are our friends only in that they buy and help the number go up. Otherwise, they are absolutely still the enemy. They are on the other side. We do not want Wall Street's dirty little hands in Bitcoin. We only want them to help us pump the price. Everything else, they can stay out of our way. Bitcoin bulls respond with 150 million short squeeze above 53K. Can Bitcoin go higher? This headline makes me laugh because $150 million in short liquidations made price move up like $6,000. We saw 10 billion in long liquidations last week to send price down about 9. People are still very, very bullish. There's not that many shorts in the market, and actually the funding rates right now are somewhat near neutral, but this is a minor short squeeze. It's not even really up for conversation when you compare 150 million to the 10 billion that were liquidated the other way. I think that right now the shorts have been squeezed. Whatever was there, that could have taken us to 53K. If we want Bitcoin to return to the recent highs, we're gonna have to do it the old school way by people buying spot. Microsoft, Apple, MicroStrategy to be listed on Binance as tokenized stocks. Now, we already know that Binance is starting to tokenize stocks. The future of trading stocks and of stocks in general is tokenization. I do believe that eventually legacy markets will tokenize stocks, and that will be the easiest way without clearinghouses and all the middlemen to trade stocks. But it's interesting that Binance is continuing down this path following fellow exchanges like FTX. They're giving you Microsoft, Apple, MicroStrategy, predictably the ones that people who trade on Binance already in crypto would be interested in. Of course, Americans will not be able to participate because we hate fun. Polygon Matic jumps ahead as the race for layer 2 adoption picks up. Increasing volume in TVL and QuickSwap, along with steady growth in the number of projects joining Polygon, have analysts suggesting that Matic price is undervalued. Now, you know I have been a huge Matic bull. I've posted countless setups in the newsletter and have talked about it all the time. I love the rebrand to Polygon and everything they're doing, but it's really interesting to note just how much it's taking off and just how much adoption. As my friend Lark Davis said, Polygon, the top Ethereum 2 layer 2, is going nuts. Integrations with Aave, Pool Together, SushiSwap, OpenSea, Curve Finance, Decentraland, and loads of other big DeFi applications. TVL and Aave on Polygon nearing 1 billion. Matic undervalued. All I can say is that I tend to agree, and whoever wins the layer 2 adoption race is going to absolutely explode in coin price and usage. And right now it looks like that's likely to be Polygon. Once again, I'm Scott Melker, also known as the Wolf of All Streets. That is the charts and all of the news that is driving the markets. Please subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, check out my newsletter, which is in the description. And also, I will be live streaming today at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to expand on all of these topics and more. Thank you for watching. Until then, peace.